Locked up for his beliefs at a police station in a small remote town in West Sumatra, Alexander Aan is being detained since his arrest on January 18. The atheist is facing trial for defamation of religion. Under police guard, Al Jazeera were allowed to interview him. He says he started to question the existence of God when he was a child.
As a democracy and part of the global community, because we're not isolated from the outside world, I think we should be more tolerant. Nobody hurts anyone simply because he has different ideas.
People in West Sumatra, like in most of Indonesia, are predominantly Muslim. Some have threatened to kill Aan if he is released. Although the country is officially secular, every Indonesian has to have a religion and register himself according to one of the official 5 religions.
Kriminal memang bukan, tapi dia melakukan tindak pidana.
He is not a criminal, but he has violated the law. He has not used any violence, but he has caused unrest among our people.
Not only is Alexander Aan facing 5 years in prison, he also most probably has lost his job here as a civil servant at a small government office in West Sumatra. After his colleagues found out about his ideas and his postings on Facebook, they reported it to a youth group that came and gave him some beatings. His colleagues called the police when more people started to attack Aan. They say the atheist insulted their religion with his postings on Facebook and deserves to be detained.
As a religious person, we are very peaceful. Like bees, when honey comes in, honey goes out. But if we feel disturbed, we need to take action.
Indonesia has a growing number of atheists who have organized themselves mostly on Facebook. Many though fear to speak out in public. But according to Islamic scholar Musa Mulia, atheism is not banned in Indonesia.
The only thing he's done is leave the religion he was born into. It's a fundamental human right to embrace or not embrace a religion. This is one of the most fundamental universal human rights.
Aan says he doesn't feel safe in Indonesia anymore. As soon as he is released, he wants to go abroad. First he will have to face trial and possibly more threats. Stepfasen, Al Jazeera, Darmas Raya, West Sumatra.
An Indonesian man is waiting to hear if he'll face a jail term for professing his atheism online. West Sumatran civil servant Alexander Aan was arrested earlier this year for posting on Facebook, quote, "There is no God." Prosecutors in the case have demanded a prison sentence of 3.5 years, and the verdict is expected later on Thursday. Let's get more on this and bring in Andy Bayuni. He's the chief editor from the Jakarta Post. Your newspaper has been covering the story. What do you expect us to hear from that verdict?
Well, I think it's going to be a guilty verdict. We just don't know how many years he will get. And the question is whether the people who had protested for his, against him would also be satisfied with 3.5 years of jail. There have been pressures on the court to give him even a stronger punishment because they're angry at the fact that he was able to declare his atheism and actually use the Facebook to pronounce that God doesn't exist.
Right,
and he was actually engaging with other people in the Facebook.
And seeing that he declared his atheism, he was charged with blasphemy, however. Can you explain that?
Yes, it's not so much that he professed the atheism, but he was engaging in a debate, an intellectual debate in the Facebook with other people, and then where he challenged those people, those Muslims, to prove that Islam does exist, that God does exist. And this was used in court against him under the blasphemy law, that he was insulting a major religion in Indonesia. And that's the way the law is in Indonesia.
The constitution in Indonesia guarantees freedom of religion. Let me ask you, is it illegal to be an atheist?
Yeah, the Constitution guarantees freedom of religion, but at the same time, the Constitution also requires that every citizen must have a religion. And so therefore, this puts him outside the constitutional protection. I know this is inconsistent, but this is historical, that monotheism or the professing in the belief in one God was inserted in the Constitution during the struggle when Muslims or Islam was fighting against communism back in the 1940s when they drafted the Constitution.
Would you say that there is rising intolerance towards religion in Indonesia, more so now than before?
Yeah, I think by and large most Indonesians are tolerant. I mean, we profess to be moderate Muslims and tolerant. Unfortunately, I think the last few years there have been radical groups.
Sorry to interrupt you, but that's how Indonesia is often seen from right around the world.
Yes, and we'd like to believe that's still the case. The problem is that it's now that we are extending that tolerance towards the intolerant groups. And they are, these intolerant groups, they are minorities, they don't represent the majority of religions, but somehow they got away, and the Muslim majority, they are tolerating this. I wish they are more outspoken in actually condemning violence and also protecting people with different beliefs, including atheists.
And the government's role here?
That's not happening at the moment yet.
Right, and just briefly, the government's role then?
Yeah, the government is also, the government, the guy in West Sumatra is being prosecuted by the state. So that's reflects where the government stands on this issue. But there have also been cases where the government or the state were indifferent towards some of the violence being inflicted against religious minorities. And we are talking about the Ahmadiyya and the Shia and some of the Christians in part of the country.
All right. Andy Bayuni, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much for joining us from Jakarta.